So what a wild week it has been for the Cleveland Browns. I mean, nobody could have predicted in their right mind what all just went down over the last week or so, but I know Mel Kiper has a big smile on his face. Again, it's not time to overreact. I know Shedeur played phenomenal, and he created hype surrounding a preseason game like we have never seen before. And yes, most of his success came against the Panthers 2s and 3s, and they already in general are a horrific defense. But let's face it, Shedeur was set up for failure. He was getting reps with basically the equipment staff all training camp long, and out of nowhere, like 3 days before the game, he was told that he would be starting with the 2s against the Panthers 1s on offense. So this really, to me, sort of felt like a trap that there was no way out of. But as Shedeur has done throughout his entire career, he did not accept that this was a trap. He went out there and balled despite the situation. And he really viewed it as an opportunity, not a setup, and he set the entire world on fire with his performance. He was not perfect by any means, but for the situation he was put in, I think he played about as good as you could have hoped for as a Shedeur fan. And now get ready for a crazy week of talk shows, because the hype has gotten even larger and it just continues to grow day by day. And I think everyone knows that Shedeur is for real and that the entire thing was a setup for him to fail since day one. The Browns and the NFL now have to give Shedeur the same opportunity and chance to develop as everyone else, or else you're gonna see people marching down the streets with their pitchforks out. So now the next steps for the Browns, in my eyes, are super clear. You gotta trim this quarterback room down to 3 guys. There's no more trying to use Kenny Pickett as the scapegoat to not give Sanders his proper reps to develop, and I think the entire Browns fan base as a whole is on the same page right now. You keep Joe Flacco and you roll him out there and start him week 1. I think that is the safe bet right now, and it's what you should do. Then you get rid of Kenny Pickett. I know he's not going to have many suitors. He's not like a hot topic, but maybe you try to give him to the Saints or something. If not, you cut him. You just got to find a way to let him go because he is no longer a fit in Cleveland anymore. And then you obviously keep both of the rookies, that being Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur. And when Gabriel gets healthy and is ready to go, I want to see him play a preseason game because it's clear the Browns front office and coaching staff views him as a first-round pick. Do I know why? Absolutely not. But I just want to see it. And when I do watch him play, I'm going to be completely unbiased. I'm not going to root against him. I just want to see what he has to offer with my own eyes and kind of with a perspective comparing what he can do to what I saw from Shador Sanders. Because isn't undersized lefty from Oregon that much better than Shedeur? I don't know. Again, I just need to see it. So I think Gabriel needs the chance to go out there and do the same thing that Shedeur did, or be better than that. Because if he doesn't, then there is not a reason in practice for him to get all the meaningful reps and for Shedeur to get none. That is called favoritism, and the Browns are not in a place right now as an organization to do that. Outside of that one bad missed throw where he was scrambling to the right early on in his start, I thought Shedeur played near flawless football for the most part. He made the touch passes, he looked really poised in the pocket, and clearly he has the ability to sort of escape and break free when he's being pressured. Obviously, you don't want him running 20 yards back on a scramble at the NFL level with how good the D linemen are. That is a recipe for disaster. But he showed that he has that sort of magician type of ability to make something out of nothing. And if he ever gets to play behind the Browns starting O-line with a clean pocket, I can only imagine what he's gonna do. Remember guys, this is not a 5th round pick at all. This is a guy who was projected to go in the 1st round. At one point by Mel Kiper, he was supposed to go number 2 overall. And I at this point really don't want to hear the, oh, it was just against second stringers, because Shedeur went out there completely unprepared with no O-line, none of the main guys in the backfield. His best receiver was a product of Kent State. He went out there with basically no proven talent and completely balled. I mean, you have to give him credit for that, even if you hate the guy. I saw some people criticizing him for walking out of the tunnel to his own music with the sunglasses and the legendary chain, but that's literally just who he is. That's his brand. He's been nothing but a good person in and out of the locker room. He even joked with Grassi about how he always hates on him instead of flipping out like LeBron did with Bronny to Stephen A. Smith courtside. He has said the right things in his interviews. I know I'm giving beyond praise at this point, but I think you all get what I'm trying to say, and these last few months have really just been frustrating to watch as a Shedeur fan with how the NFL has treated him and just all the things that have happened, especially through training camp. But enough of that, now moving on to something else. let's talk about Quinchon Judkins and his entire situation, because obviously he did not play in the preseason game against Carolina because of his legal issues. Obviously, we all know what Judkins is capable of from his time at Ohio State. In Florida, a defendant has the right to a speedy trial within 60 days of being charged. Judkins' attorney waived that trial, meaning the trial can now take place within 175 days from the date of his charges. This is kind of surprising because I think the expectation this whole time has been that he and his legal team would get this matter resolved quickly so it could be over and he could get back out on the field if the Browns let him play, which I'm assuming they would given the current situation with the team. Obviously, he'd probably face a little bit of a suspension, but I'm assuming the coaching staff would want him out there because his talent is undeniable. It's just, you gotta figure out the stuff off the field. It's ridiculous. I guess one of the possible scenarios with the delay is that his legal team is trying to negotiate a settlement or deal with the victim's side, which could potentially result in the charges being dropped. And also, delaying this whole thing could give him more time for any negotiations to be completed before a trial date is set. So right now, Judkins has 3 major hurdles to get over before he can officially suit up in a Browns uniform. The first is that he still needs to sign his actual contract with the team. Right now, he is the only remaining second-round pick that is unsigned throughout the entire NFL. And to me, that is super frustrating, knowing the Browns could have just taken TreVeyon Henderson, a guy known for having great character. But hey, the Browns are gonna Brown. The second hurdle is to resolve the case in whatever way that may take. And the third is to face whatever suspension that the NFL may give him. Mike Hall got 5 games in a very similar domestic case, so I think he will get around 5 or 6 before he is good to go, and that will be a major setback because he won't be up to game speed. That's sort of like a loss for most of the season. So the entire thing really just sucks, especially as I said, knowing that TreVeyon Henderson was right there, and in his preseason debut, he of course returned that opening kickoff to the house for 6, so it seems like a big swing and a miss, but hey, it happens, and Andrew Berry has made a lot of those over the last few years, but I know the Watson one was mainly the Haslams, so I'm not going to blame him on that. You gotta just, I don't know what to do because I can't put the full blame on Andrew Berry because he's made some good picks, but the Browns are just going to continue to Brown, and it's just frustrating, but it is what it is. We're used to it as Browns fans. Anyways, getting back to the more positive side of things, I know I've talked a lot about Shedeur, but now I want to talk about some of the other young guys that really stood out in the Browns preseason opener in Carolina. The first is obviously the Kent State receiver in Luke Floria. He was the one on the receiving end of both of Shedeur's touchdowns, but the one-handed catch was the play that stood out to me the most. And if Shedeur does ever get on the field in 2025, which I think he definitely will at some point, I think he just made a real case to be that 3rd or 4th receiver on the field, especially with how trash Deontay Johnson is. The next positive was Dylan Sampson. I know he didn't really show up on the official stat sheet, but there was a short pass where if Sanders did not miss, he may have been walking into the end zone. But outside of that, I thought he did the little things. And again, with the Judkins situation, he is really going to need to step up this year and play in a role he did not expect to be in when rookie minicamp started. So overall, the Browns have a lot on their plate right now, and they are right in the center of attention this preseason. And as I said, I want to see Dylan Gabriel on the field. I want to see him get his shot, just so I can compare the 2 QBs in my head in an unbiased way. I really just want to see why the coaching staff still views him over Shedeur before I can make my official takes about who should be 2 and 3 on the depth chart. But you got to get rid of Pickett. There is no room for him or fit on this depth chart. I feel like that is just stating the obvious, and then I want to see the Browns take things one step at a time. There is no need to rush their decision. That's really all I got for this video. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about the Browns' first preseason game and what your expectations are for this team, because I know there's a lot going on right now. I could talk about this team for like 2 hours. That's how much news there is. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one. Please be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you did, because your support truly does mean the world. And let me know what you would like to see next. And until then, I will see you all later.